Hello, my name is Lady Silversong, and during my Twitch stream last night, I went over the patch notes for Diablo 4's Season 1, Season of the Malignant. It's a long one, it's going to be close to an hour long. If you want to skip that, I'm going to post a link to the patch notes in the description. You're more than welcome to go do that, but if you could take a listen, hang out with me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, let's see. What do we got? I'm looking at patch notes now. Let's see. There's actually a long list of patch notes. New unique items and legendary aspects. New unique items and legendary aspects have been discovered in Sanctuary. Use them to enhance your characters in the eternal or seasonal realm. These unique items can be obtained from World Tier 4, and the legendary aspects can be obtained from any world tier. 6 unique items. There's a spear. It's an uber unique staff. Gain a random shrine effect for 1 to 20 seconds after killing an elite enemy. Can only occur once every 30 seconds. That's kind of interesting. Unique sword. Lucky hit. Your core skills have up to 20% chance to freeze enemies for 3 seconds and deal 0.75 to 1.5 cold damage. That's for Barbarian. Druid. Flesh rending. Unique one-handed mace. Debilitating roar and blood howl deal 0.5 to 1.0 damage to nearby poisoned enemies. Necromancer's got a unique shield. Lucky hit. While you have an active bone storm, hitting an enemy outside of a bone storm has up to a 5 to 25% chance to spawn an additional bone storm at their location. Each of your active sacrifice bonuses is increased the chance by 25%, and the total number of additional bone storms you can have by +1. Rogue. A unique bow. Penetrating shot has a 30 to 80% chance to fire an arrow that bounces off walls and scenery, hitting enemies from behind. With penetrating shot will make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. Sorcerer. Unique wand. Gain the effect of teleport enchantment for free. When you invade using teleport enchant, you are taken to a random location. Developer note: the 2 of the items have flat damage effects which scale with power. For example, an 820 power one deals between 3,359 and 6,718 damage. So there's a couple of them they did scale the damage on. 7 new legendary aspects. General Odyssey, unique aspect. When there's at least 5 close enemies, stun them for 2 to 4 seconds. This can occur once every 20 seconds. Craven mobility access. You gain 20 to 40% increased movement while moving away from a slowed or chilled enemies. Barbarians gain astral charge. Offensive aspect. Charge calls forth the 4 ancients who have charge, dealing 50 to 100% of normal damage. Druid subterranean. Offensive aspect. Poison creepers active. Also cast landslide in a circle around you. Earth skills deal 10 to 20% increased damage to poisoned enemies. Necromancer. Gore quills. Offensive access. Blood lance will consume blood orbs to also conjure lances from them. Each additional blood lance deals 20 to 50% of normal damage and prioritizes targets unlanced enemies. Rogue. Pestilence points. Offensive aspect. Every 3rd cast of puncture is poison imbued with 100 to 115% of normal potency. Sorcerer Searing Wand's offensive aspect after spending 100 through or 200 through 100 mana, your next firewall is free to cast and will destroy incoming small missiles. Well, that does not mean good. Bug fixes made various improvements from an accessibility perspective. Primary fixes to the screen reader while it failed to read specific elements. Challenges fixed multiple issues where specific challenges wouldn't provide the proper rewards and could not be completed. Fixed multiple issues where certain challenges could progress through unintended means. Fixed multiple issues where players could gain progress for certain challenges through the actions of other nearby players. Fixed multiple instances where activities that should count towards the criteria for some challenges were not counted. Fixed an issue where players would not receive notification for when one of their friends completed a challenge. Fixed an issue where feats of strength were not accumulated for when calculating challenge completion percent. The feats of strength final slayer of the first mother and now requires you to slay the level 100 pinnacle boss solo. The silence is hellish challenge remains unchanged. Fixed an issue where the feats of strength, one of the first and earliest experience, did not display all the titles they rewarded. Cooperative play. Fixed an issue where the camera wasn't functioning properly when players were far apart in local co-op. Fixed an issue where NPC conversation boxes would overlap if multiple local co-op players talked to the same NPC at the same time. Fixed an issue where the rogue's inner sight would only fill up for one of the players in the co-op section. Fixed an issue where the dark potency challenge would be granted to both players when either player completed it, regardless of the other player's progression. Fixed multiple instances where players progressed would not properly synchronize and a quest progression could be blocked for local co-op players. Fixed multiple issues that occurred during cutscenes for co-op players. Good, because there was quite a few of those that would only work for one person and the rest of us were staring at the floor. Dungeons. Fixed an issue where the players would not be able to receive enough ammunition to progress through the hollowed honorary dungeon. So, the purple balls. Fixed an issue where the stone carving in the Fallen Temple capstone dungeon was duplicate. Fixed an issue where the monster regen effects in the Nightmare dungeon would also affect structures in the dungeon. Fixed an issue where the goatmen and shambling corpse enemies would continuously respawn in the Forsaken Quarry dungeon. Fixed an issue where the sentinel enemies would not have weapons in the Bastion of Faith dungeon. Okay. Fixed an issue where the Bastion of Faith dungeon would sometimes not be completed. Fixed an issue where the player could respawn behind a barrier in the Fallen Temple capstone dungeon. Fixed an issue where the map for the Crusaders Cathedral dungeon was incomplete. Fixed an issue where the Curse of Indodos and the Curse of Weak would stack even while the player was dead in the Fallen Temple capstone dungeon. Fixed multiple instances where the fog door would not be progressed through in some dungeons. Fixed an issue where the monster thorns affix in Nightmare dungeons was reflecting physical damage. It will now properly reflect non-physical damage. Fixed an issue where the blood boils would not properly spawn in the Bracken barracks dungeon. Fixed an issue where traps would deal more damage than intended. Fixed an issue where level scaling in the level 100 Pinnacle dungeon was inconsistent. Fixed an issue where the Awaken Liftstone wouldn't spawn if the party leader left the dungeon before the dungeon was complete. Gameplay. Barbarians. They fixed an issue where the number of enemies to defeat for the Barbarian class quest Master of the Battle was not displayed. Fixed an issue where the Iron Maelstrom could not be cast more than 3 times, rapidly casting Warcry. Fixed an issue while stacking the Berserk, Rippling, Skullbreaker, and Anemia aspects would allow the player to deal extreme amounts of damage. Fixed an issue where the outer edge of the quakes granted a Hammer of the Ancients via the aspect of Ancestral Echoes was dealing far more damage than intended. Developer note, we recognize the adjustment is a significant decrease to the Hammer of the Ancients Barbarian build, but we do not want its strength to be reliant on the on an underlying bug. We're going to the Druid next. Fixed an issue where Earth skills and Pulverized skills would consume 2 overpowered buffs simultaneously. Fixed an issue where the bonus effect on Blood Howl from Night Howler's aspect would apply twice to wolf companions, but not at all for ravens. Fixed an issue where provocation passive stacks wouldn't update properly after adding more points to it. Fixed an issue where the automatic transformation from Insatiable Fury would cause Ursin Strength Key passive to not proc consistently. Fixed an issue where the enhanced Pulverize buff would not remove itself while in town. Fixed an issue where Seeking Tornadoes produced Storm Chaser's aspect would not deal damage. Fixed an issue where Raven's passage damage did not improve after the skill was upgraded. Fixed an issue where Rabies would not deal no damage while standing very close to enemies. Fixed an issue where Stormclaw's aspect allowed Shred to do extreme amounts of damage. Necromancer. Fixed an issue where necromancers could not attain daggers from the provider of curiosities. Fixed an issue where the necromancer's minions would have their life bonuses deactivated while in town. Fixed an issue where Bone Spear casts through Chilling Wind from an elite enemy would increase the number of generated echoes for that cast. Fixed an issue where Enhanced Bone Spear would cause erratic movement. Fixed an issue where canceling Blood Mist when it's already off cooldown would immediately recast. Rogue. Fixed an issue where Shadow Step wouldn't trigger the aspect Uncanny Treachery if the target was killed. Fixed an issue where Advanced Penetrating Shot would not knock down other players in PvP play. Fixed an issue where Twisting Blades would not come back when the ability killed a bloated Corpse Fiend enemy. Fixed an issue where the dash skill would not move the full distance if targeting an enemy while using a controller. Fixed an issue where Eldritch Bounty Paragon node granted bonus resistances incorrectly. Fixed an issue where Rapid Fire had an extra arrow VFX that behaved erratically. Fixed an issue where Awakened Glyphstone wouldn't spawn for rogue players using improved barrage. Sorcerer. Fixed an issue where Firebolt enchantment effect did not contribute to the combustion key passive. Fixed an issue where the passive stacks generated by ally the elements could partially reset in an unexpected way. Fixed an issue where casting Deep Freeze would prevent Ice Shard enchantment effect from triggering. Fixed an issue where Aspect of Control was applying its damage bonus 3 times for staggered bosses. Fixed an issue where the Gravitational Aspect was appearing weak on 2-handed weapons and amulets. Fixed an issue where the enchantment effect for Chain Lightning had no visual tracking bonus and could also unexpectedly dropped off. Fixed an issue where Incinerate would immediately cost 30 mana when casting, in addition to the consistent channel mana costs. Incinerate now properly only costs mana as it's being channeled. General, there's a bunch of fixes. Fixed multiple instances where players could unnaturally teleport during boss encounters. Fixed an issue where a chest in the western ways could be interacted with indefinitely. Fixed an issue where airman NPC couldn't be interacted with in certain situations. Fixed an issue where otherwise breakable objects in the world would not be broken when evading through them. Fixed multiple instances where the player could avoid damage from bosses if they positioned themselves in specific locations. Fixed an issue where forged relics could not be interacted with. Fixed an issue where monsters with a cold, bleeding, burning, or corruption affix would freeze players in one hit in nightmare dungeons with the cold enhanced affix. Fixed an issue where cold enhanced monsters froze players more often than intended in higher world tiers. Fixed an issue where a chest could spawn that would provide infinite loot. Helltide in Fiends of Hatred fixed an issue where players could be damaged by the Helltide firestorms while standing in Durandal. It's one of the cities. Fixed an issue where enemies resurrected by shamans would continuously drop errant cinders in Helltide. Fixed an issue where chain lightning could bounce indefinitely between the caster and other player characters standing in the Fields of Hatred town. Fixed an issue where crackling energy could hit other players in Fields of Hatred town. We know, shocking. Fixed an issue where players could not see other players that they should when re-entering the something Fields of Hatred zone. It's ALZUUDA. Fixed an issue where certain areas in the Fields of Hatred would be incorrectly flagged as town, rendering players unable to cast skills while still being able to be damaged. Items and aspects fixed an issue where the cost reduction bonus for the Ring of Starless Skies would unexpectedly drop off. Fixed an issue where the aspect of the Protector would trigger its barrier effect after destroying a breakable object. Fixed an issue where the Ring of Misfortune had incorrect stats. Fixed an issue where the Ember Staff weapon didn't apply the bonus damage to crowd-controlled enemies, which is inherent for all stave types weapons. Fixed an issue where any character menu interaction would reset the bonus granted by Inner Calm aspect. Fixed an issue where the maximum life affix on the Mark of Conclave quest item was scaling improperly. Fixed an issue where aspect power would also increase when upgrading an item at the blacksmith. The level requirement for sacred items will now cap at level 60. The level item requirements for ancestral items will now cap at level 80. Fixed an issue where the Mother's Embrace unique ring did not trigger properly with several abilities. Monsters fixed an issue where items of higher power than intended were dropping from rare monsters. Fixed an issue where the Warg's jumping attack dealt no damage when passing through the player. Fixed an issue where the Pitless Gur monster would endlessly run around in circles. Fixed an issue where the lightning enhanced champion Goatman would fail to deal damage to the player. Fixed an issue where monsters with the suppressor affix would be immune to damage from abilities that started initially outside the immunity circle, except when a barbarian starts a whirlwind before getting within the proper range of the suppressor monster. Fixed an issue where clones of a monster with a suppressor affix could also have the suppressor affix. Fixed an issue where treasure goblins would behave erratically if initially engaged from a long distance. Yeah, we've seen that. Fixed multiple other issues where monster behavior could not perform properly and could be exploited in some cases. We're not even close to being done, just so you guys know. Quests and events. Fixed an issue where the progression bar would not fill up during the Caravan Under Siege event. Fixed an issue where the putrid remains enemies would remain idle during the Defiled Ground event. Fixed an issue where champion enemies could not spawn during the Ancient Obelisk event. Fixed multiple issues where using traversals could cause elite and boss monsters to disappear during multiple events. Fixed an issue where Radiant and Greater Radiant chests would not spawn when completing the Fearful Bones event. Fixed an issue where the Cursed Chest event could not be completed. Fixed an issue where the Defiled Ground, even in Halward, would have a respawn point much further away than intended. Fixed an issue where unique downed enemies spawned during events in the Forgotten Coastline would be invulnerable to damage. Fixed an issue where the suppressor monster effects would be active by containers and could be activated on containers and furniture inside the dungeon during the Remnants quest. Fixed an issue where the player could teleport through the Ancient Gate and block progression during the Storming the Gates quest. Fixed an issue where progression could be blocked during the Flesh and Blood quest. Fixed an issue where quest dungeons did not reset if the associated quest was abandoned. Fixed an issue where the quest tracker would be missing if the player re-entered the game during the Picking Through the Bones quest. Fixed an issue where not enough monsters would spawn to fulfill the requirements for completing the Hungry Neonites Catch quest. Fixed an issue where an enemy was missing when progressing through the Lost Archives dungeon during the Legacy of the Magi quest. Fixed an issue where Immoral Inscription could not be read during the Augury of the Bones quest. Fixed an issue where the player character could not face to speak to an NPC when initiating a dialogue for multiple quests. Fixed an issue where the ghost body of Burka would remain visible after being defeated during the True Potency Rogue class quest. Fixed an issue where outside party members could influence the progression of the Bad Blood quest. Fixed an issue where players could be blocked from re-entering the boss's area after dying during the fight against Eliza in the Piercing the Veil quest. Fixed various other issues where quest progression could be blocked. User interface and user experience. Fixed an issue where the minimap didn't accurately depict the game world during the Blind Eye quest. Fixed an issue where the map was incomplete and keep for Loch, Rothan region, and Soglin. Fixed an issue where a portion of the map was invisible in the Exalter Terrace dungeon. Fixed an issue where the Mad Balmer title would not display for enemies encountered through the whisper of the same name. Fixed an issue where articles in the newsfeed could not be opened using the mouse and keyboard. Fixed an issue where you have a cross-network play enabled message was being sent to chat each time a campaign quest objective was completed. That was annoying. The cult leader Paragon passive no longer appears above hostile minions in PvP. Fixed an issue where the bonus from the ballistic aspect displayed +0 to skills instead of +2 on the bonus bar. Fixed an issue where the sigil sorting was inconsistent when between inventory and the stash. Fixed an issue where the social tab on the action wheel editing window would be skipped when navigating on the controller. Fixed an issue where the amount of gold would not properly display when trading gold in large quantities. Fixed an issue where item comparison numbers would be inaccurate if the items in question had gem sockets that granted a stat that would also present on the base of the item. Fixed an issue where images would not properly load in the newsfeed on the main menu. Fixed multiple issues with the map pen function. Yeah, there was quite a few places if you pinned in the wrong spot, it led you into weird spaces. Fixed multiple issues where quest and whisper markers weren't displaying properly. Various improvements to consistency and clarity of messaging skills descriptions and tooltips, and various other UI and UX improvements. Miscellaneous. Fixed an issue where completion music for defeating Alvarez would start playing before the boss was defeated. Always confirm your kills before celebrating wonders. Fixed an issue where players couldn't send BattleNet friend requests to friends while playing on console. Fixed an issue where players could confirm if hardcore mode was enabled after logging in with a new character. Fixed an issue where players that haven't unlocked a higher world tier could be invited into a higher world tier party. Fixed an issue where players couldn't transfer leader of a clan. Fixed an issue where the sender of the party invite would not be informed that the invite failed due to incompatibility with campaign prologue progression. Fixed an issue where Nefez's spear would duplicate in the cutscene where the player picks it up. Fixed an issue where Mephi's camel made no noise. Fixed an issue where there was no sound when Laura kicks Mephi's awake. Various other improvements. Loading screen updates. We've added more dramatic loading screens with the release of the season of the Malignant. This includes adding more aspects to the loading screen, such as your player character. Gameplay updates. General. The Altar of Lilith unlocks are now account-wide. Map discovery is now account-wide. Whispers will no longer reward sigil dust. Overall, loot quality has been significantly improved for silent chests. Yay, because it's been lacking. The channel time for the leave dungeon ability has been increased from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. We have generally reduced the tendency for many monsters to move around in combat so that melee characters don't have to chase down their enemies as much. Added DualSense Edge wireless controller support for PC. Renown value adjustments. Side quest renown rewards values increased from 20 to 30. Dungeon renown rewards values increased from 30 to 40. Developer note, this change is retroactive and the additional renown gain will be applied to characters who have already completed side quests and dungeons. World Tier. World Tier 2 has had the following bonuses added. Bonus gold increase from 15% to 20%. Monsters now drop 15% more items. Developer note, we like where World Tier 2 has landed overall, but are increasing its reward pace to better align with its difficulty. Level scaling inside dungeons and most overworld territories has been adjusted in World Tiers 3 and 4. Monsters will begin to trail behind the player in level after a certain point up to a maximum of 5 levels behind. This change does not affect world bosses, legion events, fields of hatred, hell tides, or nightmare dungeons. Developers note, we want to give players a better sense of their power progression and mastery over the world while still challenging themselves with structured in-game activities. World Tier 3 example, if the player's level is below 55, the monster's level is 55. If the player's level is 56 through 60, the monster's level is 55. If the player's level is 61, the monster's level is 56. If the player's level is 62, the monster's level is 57. etc. From this point, the monsters will always be 5 levels, minus 5 levels until World Tier 3's max monster level of level 70. World Tier 4 example. If the player's level is below 75, the monster's level is 75. If the player's level is 76 through 80, the monster's level is 75. If the player's level is 81, the monster's level is 76. If the player's level is 82, the monster's level is 77, etc. From this point, the monster's level will always be minus 5. Experience. Reward experience for completing Whispers in World Tiers 3 and 4 has been significantly increased. Developers note, we have observed that the experience bonus reward for killing higher level monsters escalates too fast when compared to relative challenges involved. We still want to reward players for taking on this challenge by encouraging them to participate in power leveling together instead of one player killing enemies while another player member of their party waits at the dungeon entrance. We are adjusting bonus experience rewards for killing monsters that are a higher level than the player. Pre-season of the Malignant bonus, 1 level higher equals 15%, 2 levels higher is 20%, 3 levels higher is 3 plus levels higher is 25%. Post-season of the Malignant, 1.5 bonus per level up to 10 levels. Etc. Level 1 is 1.5, level 2 is 3 plus 3%, 10 levels is 15%. We're also adjusting experience reward for monster level effects, monster level offsets for higher world tiers. Current world tier level aspect. World tier 2 is up to plus 3, world tier 3 is up to plus 10, world tier 4 is up to plus 100. We're changing this to World Tier 2 up to plus 3, unchanged. World Tier 3 up to plus 6, World Tier 4 is up to plus 10. For example, you're a level 1, your friends bring you to a World Tier 4 and leave you at the entrance of a dungeon. They start killing level 100 monsters. Prior to the season of Malignant, the level 100 monsters XP is 1 plus 25%. After season of Malignant, you'd get a level 11 monster XP, so 1 plus 15%. Helltides. Developer note, we're looking to increase the danger and Helltide risks reward gameplay by making the monsters a bit more challenging and the tortured gift of mysteries harder to open. Helltide monsters are now 3 levels higher than the player instead of 2. Tortured gift of mystery chest has had its cost increased to 250 cinders from the 175. All interactable objects in the Helltide zones now have a small chance of dropping the cinders. Balance updates. Developer note, as our community continues to battle the burning hells, the builds emerging from new players have shocked and delighted us. We have chosen to focus the season of Malignant balance updates on clear itemization dependencies over redesign of class features. The class changes are largely focused on number increases to unskilled upgrades and legendary aspects that players haven't yet found compelling. Additionally, we are changing critical strike damage paragon glyphs to empower all damage instead of only core skills to enable more build strategies. There are also a few class stat decreases on sources which grant extreme amounts of damage, healing, or unstoppable. In general, we prefer build-specific changes to be bonuses instead of decreases, but we feel these changes are necessary for the overall health of the game. Diablo IV is a game that is continually evolving through its seasons, and thus adjustments we make will evolve with them. The following balance updates apply to both the seasonal and elemental realms. Barbarian. Skills, violent double swing vulnerability during duration increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Furious upheaval damage bonus per stack increased from 3% to 5%. Power change cooldown reduction is now capped to 3 targets for a maximum of 9 seconds of cooldown reduction. Tactical ground stomp fury gain increased from 25 to 40. Enhanced death blows damage bonus to bosses increased from 100% to 150. Enhanced steel grasp vulnerable duration increased from 2.5 to 3 seconds. Enhanced rupture damage increased from 30% to 45%. Warrior's rupture attack speed bonus increased from 20% to 30%, and the duration increased from 4 to 5 seconds. Fighter's rupture healing increased from 15% to 18% max life. Passives hamstring now only slows healthy enemies, and slow amount increased from 10, 20, 30 to 20, 40, 60%. Cut the bone bleeding damage bonus to vulnerable.
I can't do that here.
Vulnerability reduced from 6, 12, 18 to 5, 12, 15. Paragon Wrath's glyphs bonuses now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Aspects Relentless Berserker's aspects Berserker enduring increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Battle Mad aspect berserking duration increased from 1 to 2.5 to 2 to 3.5 seconds. Brawler's aspect damage increased from 1 to 1.3 to 1.5 through 1.8. Aspects of Burning Rage damage increased from 0.08 to 0.14 to 0.22 through 0.28. Aspects of the Warrior damage reduction increased from 15 through 25% to 18 to 28%. Slacking aspect lucky hit chance increased from 30 through 50 to 40 through 60. Aspect of the Ancestral Echo's lucky hit chance increased from 40 through 50 to 50 through 60%. Weapon Master's aspect lucky hit chance increased from 32 through 50% to 37 through 55%. Items. The Gor's devastating grips now explodes every 2 seconds after it ends. Its hit cap has been removed. Fields of Crimson bleeding damage bonus increased from 10% to 15%. Druid. Skills. Enhanced Claw attack skill speed bonus increased from 10 to 15%. Storm Strike damage reduction reduced from 25 to 15%. Boulder damage increased from 33 to 46%. Savage Trample Spirit gain increased from 20 to 40. Prime Lacerate healing increased from 3% to 5%. Cataclysm lightning damage increased from 64% to 77%, and the tornado damage from 19 to 23%. Supreme Cataclysm vulnerability duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Prime Cataclysm duration increased from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. Prime Grizzly Bear Rage now grants Unstoppable for 6 seconds. 6 seconds instead of while active. Passive. Provocation threshold required for granted overpower reduction from 25, 30, 25 to 24, 20, 16 seconds. Spirit Boon. Masochistic now requires a lucky chance hit of 75%. Prickle Skin Thorns is increased from 0.1 to 0.15. Iron Feather maximum life increase from 10% to 14%. Bolster Fortify increase from 10% to 15% of maximum life. Overload damage increased from 0.2 to 0.25. Paragon. Spirit Glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Aspect of the Calm Breeze Lucky, we're on aspects now. So aspect of the Calm Breeze Lucky to hit chance increased from 5 through 10% to 7 to 12%. Balanced aspect maximum spirit increase from 30 through 50 to 60 through 80. Aspect of the Tempest damage bonus increased from 7 through 15% to 10 through 18%. Skinwalker's aspect healing increased from 0.05 through 0.1 to 0.07 through 0.12. The Symbonic aspect cooldown reduction reduced from 4 to 8 to 3 to 5. Aspect of the Stampede damage bonus increased from 10 through 20 to 16 through 26. Shepherd's damage bonus increased from 6 through 8% to 6 through 10%. Item Insatiable Fury Werebear skill ranks increased from 2 to 3. Mad Wolf Glee Wolf's Werewolf skill ranks increased from 2 to 3. Necromancer. Skills. Initiate's Decomposed Slow increased from 30 to 50. Paranormal Server cast required for Vulnerable reduced from 4 to 3. Enhanced Blood Surge healing increased from 2.5% to 3% of maximum life. Enhanced Blood Lance damage reduced from piercing reduced from 15% to 10. Bone Prism initial essence gained increased from 15 to 25. Inherent Iron Maiden healing increased from 5% to 7% of maximum life. Golems move faster and unhindered through enemies when their cooldown is activated. Supreme Blood Wave leaves behind blood orbs earlier in its path. Raised Skeleton Corpse Explosion and Corpse Tendrils range from auto-targeting corpses on mouse and keyboard increased by 50%. Raised Skeletal Priest bonus damage increased from 20% to 30%. Raised Skeletal Priest healing increased from 10% to 15%. Passives Evaluation bonus damage to vulnerable reduced from 6, 12, 18 to 5, 10, 15. Transfusion minion healing increased from 15, 30, 45 to 20, 40, 60. Drain Vitality Lucky Hit Chance increased from 25 to 30%. Amplified damage increased from 3, 6, 9 to 4, 8, 12%. Book of the Dead. Necromancer's minions will now automatically resummon after respawning during a world boss fight. Skeleton Warrior Defenders upgrade Thorns. Inherit increased from 40% to 50%. Shadow Skeleton Mage upgrade attacks required for additional Shadow Bolt reduced from 5 to 4. Bone Skeleton Mage upgrade fortify amounts increased from 11 to 20%. Iron Golems upgrade attacks required for slam attack reduced from 5 to 4. Paragon, the Essence Glyph bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Aspects. Splintering Aspect Bone Shard damage bonus reduced from 50 through 100 to 30 through 60%. Aspect of Plunging Darkness bonus damage increased from 50 through 100 to 75 through 125. Cold Bringer's Aspect Blizzard cooldown reduction from 10 to 8 seconds. Aspect of the hungry blood chance to fire a blood lance increased from 10 to 20% to 13 to 30 to 23%. Blood-soaked aspect damage increased from 0.15 through 0.2 to 0.24 through 0.31. Aspects of ultimate shadow damage increased from 0.16 through 0.22 to 0.43 through 0.48. The aspects of grasping veins critical strike damage bonus reduced from 30 through 60% to 40 or to 20 to 40%. Auspice scale aspect bonus bone storm duration increased from 4 through 8 to 5 to 10 seconds. Aspect of the damned damage bonus increased from 30 through 40% to 40 to 50%. Bloodbath aspect echo damage reduction reduced from 70 to 60 to 60 to 50. Aspects of reanimated skeletons damage bonus increased from 20 to 30 to 30 to 40. Items bloodless scream essence gained increased from 2 through 5 to 7 to 10. Bloodless vestige damage increased from 0.25 through 0.35 to 0.28 to through 0.38. And this is Rogue. Skills. Advanced rapid fire duration increased from 3 to 5 seconds. Caltrops casting speed increased by 15%. Yay. Enhanced cold imbued lucky hit chance increased from 30 to 40%. Enhanced smoke grade damage bonus increased from 15 to 20%. Methodical dash maximum cooldown reduction increased from 3 to 4 seconds. Concealment stealth duration increased from 4 seconds to 5 seconds. Enhanced dark shroud chance to not be consumed increased from 10% to 14%. Supreme death trap cooldown reduction increased from 10 to 12 seconds. Passives. Victimized lucky hit chance increased from 30% to 35%. Siphoning strikes now also requires a lucky hit chance of 75%. Rugged damage reduction against damage over time effects increased 5, 10, 15 to 6, 12, 18. Mending obscurity healing per second, while stealth increased from 369 to 4812. Aftermath energy restored increased from 25, 50, 75 to 30, 60, 90. Paragon combat glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of core skills. Eldrick's bounty legendary node duration increased from 6 to 9 seconds. Specialization. Preparations ultimate cooldown reduction increased from 4 to 5 seconds. Legendary aspects. Aspect of vital shadows damage increased from 0.1075 through 0.139 to 0.2 through 0.27. Icy Alchemist aspect chill increased from 15% to 25%. Shadowlance Slicer's aspect damage increased from 25 to 35% to 80 to 100%. Toxic Alchemist damage increased from 0.080 through 0.13 to 0.11 through 0.16. Vengeful aspect lucky hit chance increased from 35 through 50% to 40-60%. Aspects of intimidated imbuements duration increased from 5 to 9 seconds. Aspects of Stolen Vigor healing increase from 0.02 to through 0.06 to 0.04 through 0.08. Aspects of a Lethal Dusk life of kill duration increase from 4 to 6 seconds. Aspects of Nauseous Ice bonus damage increase from 10 through 25% to 14 through 29%. Aspects of Exclusive Menace dodge chance increased from 1 through 5% to 3 through 7%. Items Sky Hunter's energy gain increased from 15 to 25 to 20 to 30%, or 30. Gasp of Shadow lucky hit chance increased from 20 through 30% to 24 through 34%. Doing Sorcerer. Skills. Enhanced Charge Bolt damage increased from 24 to 30% and now benefits from skill ranks. Destructive Charge Bolt damage reduction increased from 20 to 25%. Destructive Incinerate damage reduction increased from 20 to 25. Ice Blade's cast Clean Up has been tightened, allowing players to act after its cast sooner. Firebolt initial damage increased from 10% to 18%. Wizard's Firewall maximum increased mana regeneration increased from 25 to 35%. Wizard's Blizzard's core skill mana cost reduction is increased from 10 to 20%. Supreme Deep Freeze cooldown reduction increased from 50 to 100%. Passive Elemental Dominance now also affects mastery skills instead of just score skills. Potent Warning duration increased from 3 to 9 seconds. Protection barrier duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Align the Elements damage reduction per second increased from 123 to 369. Mana shield damage reduction increased from 5, 10, 15 to 7, 14, 21. Devouring Blaze bonus critical strike damage reduced from 10, 20, 30 to 7, 14, 21. Devouring Blaze bonus critical strike damage to immobilized reduced from 25, 50, 75 to 10, 20, 30. Fiery Surge mana reduction increased from 10, 20, 30 to 15, 30, 45%. Paragon Destruction Glyph now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Enhancement Spark enhancement chance to form crackling energy increased from 10 to 14%. Frozen Orb enhancement a chance to be cast increased from 20 to 30%. Incinerate enhancement cooldown reduction reduced from 18 to 14 seconds. Hydra enhancement mana threshold reduced from 300 to 200. Legendary aspects, and there's a lot of them on the Sorc. Aspects of efficient mana cost reduction increased from 10 to 20% to 15 to 25%, and will now also affect mastery skills. Aspects of Armageddon damage increased from 0.205 through 0.25 to 0.35 through 0.4. Aspects of Shattered Stars damage increased from 0.15 through 0.2 to 0.2 through 0.25. Serpentine aspect Hydra duration reduction reduced from 30 through 20 to 20 through 10%. Glacial aspect Ice Spikes bonus damage to Frozen reduced from 25% to 15%. Glacial aspect ice spikes damage increase from 0.2 through 0.23 to 0.25 through 0.35. Or 0.35, yeah. Aspects of frozen tundra ice spikes damage increased from 0.25 through 0.35 to 0.3 through 0.4. Aspects of frozen wake ice spikes damage increased from 0.2 through 0.3 to 0.25 through 0.35, increased from 10 to 15%, and the chill increased from 10 to 15%. Aspects of biting cold chance to apply vulnerable to frozen enemies increased from 25 to 35 from 25 through 35% to 30 to 40%. Cased aspect life and mana restore per second increased from 10 to 20% to 20 to 30%. Stable aspect chance for a free cast increased from 5 to 10 to 7 to 12. Aspect of splintering energy chance to spawn an additional lightning spear increased from 11 through 20% to 41 through 50%. Aspect of the unbroken tether chance for additional chain lightning chains increased from 25 through 35% to 30 to 40%. Items: gloves of the luminar fireball damage reduction reduced from 65 to 75 to 55 through 65%. Elsa's heirloom critical strike chance from movement speed increased from 15 to 25% to 20 to 30%. Elsador's overflowing cameo chance to release a lightning nova increased from 10 to 15%. General aspects. Aspects of disobedience maximum stack reduction from 100 to 60, reducing the maximum bonus armor percent from 25 through 50% to 15 through 30%. Aspects of retribution bonus damage to stun reduced from 20 to through 40% to 10 to 20%. Exploiter's aspect bonus damage to unstoppable reduced from 20 through 50 to 20 through 40%. Starlight aspect resource restore increased from 10 through 20 to 20 to 40. Items: the Butcher's Cleaver slow increased from 40 to 75% to 61 to 75%. Drop rate adjustments increase bonuses to ancestral and sacred items in nightmare dungeons from plus 5% to plus 10%. Removed a 20% chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters outside of nightmare dungeons and hell tides. Increased a chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters in nightmare dungeons and hell tides by plus 10%. Nightmare dungeons now have a 50% chance to drop a second legendary item upon completion. Nightmare dungeons now give 3 rare items upon completion up from 1. Monsters increase monsters' hit point scaling from 85 to 100% bonus per extra player in a party. Miscellaneous adjusted the scaling of Greed Shrine to improve its effectiveness throughout the game. World bosses now drop potions more often. There is no longer a limit to how many materials you can refine into higher materials at once. Item affixes. Developers note many affixes are too efficient and are outshining alternatives. We're looking to refine the outliers and improve numbers of meaningful choices for competitive slots and increase the overall flexibility of items. We know these changes will reduce the total amount of positive power a character can possess, so we'll be monitoring how these changes affect players' ability to conquer expected milestones throughout the season. They're increasing the availability of the affixes below to make them easier to include in different builds. Control impair duration reduction. You can now appear on pants. Barrier generation can now appear for all classes. It will also begin dropping later in the game. Lucky hit chance. While you have a barrier, you can now appear on all classes, reduced by negative 12% when on helm and negative 20% when on an amulet or offhand. Mastery skill damage, newly added, can appear on sorcerer weapons, scales identically to core skill damage. Resistance to all elements can now appear on shields. Developers note the core stat bonus on weapons has been overall overperforming, so now we are pulling back on this bonus. Strength, 50% strength when on weapons is now 25% stronger when on weapons. Dexterity, 50% stronger when on weapons is now 25% stronger on weapons. Intelligence, 50% stronger when on weapons is now 25% stronger when on weapons. Willpower is 50% stronger when on weapons is now 25% stronger on weapons. Developers note, cooldown reduction affixes often felt mandatory due to their raw power. We imagine cooldown reduction will remain a highly desirable stat, but the penalty for not prioritizing it won't be as harsh. Cooldown reduction reduced by negative 30%. Imbuement cooldown skill reduction reduced by negative 30%. Trap skill cooldown reduction reduced by negative 30%. Developer note, we are seeing critical strike damage and vulnerable damage often viewed as a hard requirement for a build success in Diablo IV. We believe this is a step towards allowing more builds to flourish and will continue to make changes in support of this goal. Critical strike damage reduced by negative 17. Lightning critical strike damage reduced by negative 17. Crit strike damage with Bone, Earth, Imbued, and Werewolf skills reduced by 17%. Vulnerable damage reduced by 40%. Developers note, disparities in inherent fixes can rule some weapons out before the rest of their stats are even rolled. These are receiving harsher reductions than their normal affixes counterparts to reduce weapon flexibility. Critical start damage inherent on swords reduced by 50. Vulnerable damage inherent on crossbows reduced by 65%. Developer note, damage bonus to crowd-controlled enemies was overperforming relative to the ease of activating it versus stricter crowd control type-specific affixes. Damage to crowd-controlled enemies decreased by 30%. Damage to frozen enemies increased by 20%. Developer note, we have seen that skilled players are frequently slaughtering monsters many levels above their own. We want to support this, but the current solution is beyond what we believe is correct for the long-term health of the game. To chase this goal, we're shifting power to many offensive fixes from defensive fixes. We know this will make our in-game content more deadly, particularly for those chasing our pinnacle boss. An encounter not meant for the faint of heart. Overcoming the pinnacle boss will take every ounce of grit you can muster and all the tools at your disposal. We will continue to evaluate feedback from the community and make changes to our combat mechanisms. Wow, those are some long patch notes. There still was a little bit left. It was mostly percentages on some of the abilities. If you want to see the full list, like I said at the beginning, the link to the patch notes is in the description. Again, my name is Lady Silversong. I stream over on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. I will put a link to my Twitch channel in the description below. Again, thank you for hanging out with me on this video, and I wish you a good day, and I'll see you in game.